This is Lyqa Maravilla, a registered psychometrician, a trying hard educator, motivational speaker, and author. And it's time for us to share stories, insights, and lessons as we keep trying hard to be better together. Is intelligence a gift or a privilege? What makes those two words different, and how should we react when people say that you're smart? That's what we're going to explore in this new Trying Hard with Lyqa episode. Okay, now a few weeks back, I posted this on Instagram. It's actually a photo quote. I said, "Intelligence is a privilege. How are you using yours?" And when I shared it on Facebook, someone wrote a comment saying that he thinks intelligence is a gift. And that opened the conversation to what makes a gift and a privilege different. And that's what we're going to explore in this episode. I'm going to give you my point of view, why I chose to use the word privilege instead of a gift, and how I am choosing to view my own intelligence, okay? Now, if you find this podcast episode interesting, or if you want to keep walking with me on this journey as try hard people, don't forget to follow this podcast. And of course, if you could, share it with your friends as well. That way we can help more people rethink the way that they perceive themselves and others, okay? Now, this is my mini thesis when it comes to looking at intelligence as a privilege versus a gift. But before we explore this idea, I just want to recognize the fact that when we talk about intelligence, of course, there are a lot of views regarding intelligence, and there are multiple intelligences, of course. We're not just talking about cognitive intelligence. We're not just talking about doing well academically or having a high IQ score when we talk about intelligence. But for this particular purpose, and for the original Instagram post or the original Facebook post and this entire episode, we're going to talk about intelligence as cognitive intelligence, as something that you were born with. Now, again, this really goes against, it seems like it goes against one of the things that I push for, which is that intelligence is something that you can acquire. But the thing is, I believe that both can be true. You can be born with a certain amount of intelligence. And again, that is the topic of this conversation. But it doesn't end there. You can choose to grow that intelligence, whether you're born with like a high IQ or not. I'm a firm believer that intelligence is a constantly changing state. Okay? So it's not just a trait. It's a state of being. Ibig sabihin, you can choose to improve. If you don't use your intelligence, of course, nagde-degenerate yan to a certain point. And that is what I hold to, okay? But again, today we're just going to choose to look at intelligence as in the IQ that you were born with. Like, did things come easy for you? Are you the type na madali kang matuto when it comes to school? Do you acquire knowledge faster than the other kids? Yung ganong klaseng intelligence muna. Okay? Now, why do I want to look at intelligence, specifically my own intelligence, as a privilege versus a gift? A few things, no? Number one, when we look at the word gift, okay, the idea is good in that it comes from someone else, no? So, kapag sinabi kasing gift, may external na person na nag-award sa'yo nun, nagbigay sa'yo nun. And of course, I do believe that my intelligence is gifted by God, as in it came from God, so it was given to me. Okay, I acknowledge that fully. But I think that is where the edge ng giftedness or ng pagiging gift ng intelligence, that is where yung positive or yung yung leaning ko towards that word ends. Okay, let me bring up this idea, no? If you look at intelligence as a gift, basically, you are special. Everyone else is normal. Everyone else is average. Ibig sabihin, yung expectation sa kanila, of course, would be they would still live a full life. They will still live a normal existence. It's just that you have an edge kasi you are special. But everyone else is normal. But if you look at the word privilege, What it means is that you are the one who is normal and everyone else who doesn't have that privilege is actually underprivileged or underserved. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Kung I see my intelligence as a gift, then good. It's a good thing. It's a gift, but wala akong ibang nasasaktan. Walang argabyado kasi they're still normal. I'm just gifted. Pero if I see it as a privilege, I see my intelligence as something na sana lahat meron. Okay? Kasi it comes with the recognition that other people who are not like me or who don't have the same level of intelligence will have limited opportunities. They would have limited options in life. They would always start at a disadvantage, whether it comes to getting into good schools, hanggang sa makakuha ng magandang trabaho, hanggang minsan sa selection ng ng husband, wife, ng partner in life, kasama pa rin yung intelligence as a factor that could be a disadvantage for them. So again, mas mabigat for me yung word na privilege. Okay? Now, another reason why I prefer using the word privilege when it comes to intelligence is the fact that intelligence isn't just a trait. Having a high IQ isn't just about whether binanganak ka na may genius level IQ or not. In many ways, dahil again, it's a constantly changing state. Kung hindi rin nasusupport fully yung intelligence ng isang bata, hindi siya na-nurture, hindi siya abot to that point. Now, i-add pa natin yung biological factors, like if a child is born into a family with meager means, if habang pinagbubuntis pa lang siya ng nanay niya, wala nang access sa prenatal vitamins, walang access sa check-up, walang access sa masustansyang pagkain, which we know really helps pagdating sa feeding ng brain ng baby habang nasa tummy pa siya ng mama niya, di ibig sabihin nun, hindi rin nahinog or hindi na-ripen yung intelligence ng bata kasi kulang nga sa pagkain, kulang sa nutrition. And then ipapanganak siya na yung mga peers, yung mga batchmates niya sa ibang mga rich households, mayroon silang pambili ng magandang brand ng milk, suportado sila ng vitamins, multivitamins. Tapos itong bata na to, who's born in the slums, won't have access to that kind of nutrition. Mag-uulam siya ng chichirya, mag-uulam siya ng tuyo. Minsan, the child would go without. Kasi, ganun lang talaga, mahirap ang buhay. Hindi nagmi-milk, di ba? And again, this is the reality of the situation for a lot of people. So I would say, again, that my own intelligence is still a privilege. Kasi nasuportahan ako my family wasn't rich. Pero I remember taking multivitamins when I was young. And I remember taking vitamin C when I was younger. I remember na kapag may sakit ako, nadadala ako sa hospital. And all of these factors affect, of course, the development of my brain. So when I see it as a privilege, I recognize that this isn't just about me. Okay? This isn't because I was, magically chosen for some greater purpose, kaya meron akong gift or meron akong intelligence. It's not just like that. The idea is, this could have been anyone else's. This intelligence could have been anyone else's dito sa mundo na to, but it landed on me, and I don't deserve it. You also have things like that, right? If there's a gift na parang hindi ko yata masyadong magagamit ito ngayon, some of them na nasa loob lang sila ng cupboards natin, nasa loob lang ng closets natin, gathering dust. So nakatabi lang sila. We're thinking na baka gagamitin ko siya someday, pwede rin hindi. But the thing is, there are no strings attached when someone gives you a gift. Walang instructions for you to use that immediately. Walang consequence din if hindi mo siya gagamitin. Hindi ka makakasakit ng iba if hindi mo gagamitin yung gift mo. Ganun lang talaga Kaya nga siya gift ibig sabihin you can do what you want with it. Yun yung idea. Of course, you can argue na, hindi pero responsible ka so as not to make the other person feel bad about yung gift na yon. Yes, pero a lot of that is a cultural thing Kasi ganun tayo, ayaw natin masaktan yung nagbigay sa atin. So ipapakita natin na ginamit natin yung gift nila kahit once. Pero ang realidad, again, hindi lahat ng gifts ganun eh. Yung iba na itatambak lang talaga. They just take up space. And kung magamit man, hindi sila nagagamit necessarily to help other people. But when you see your intelligence or any privilege that you have as a privilege, what comes with that is the idea and the acknowledgement that because I have this and other people don't have it, and they should, okay, to some extent, and they should have the same level ng access as I do, it becomes more than something that you receive. It becomes something that you really have to use and utilize. It becomes a responsibility. Okay? You have a responsibility to respond to that privilege. Bakit? Kasi kung hindi mo siya gagamitin to uplift others, if you're not going to use your privilege to help the underprivileged, then all you do with your privilege is flaunt it. No? Pina-flaunt mo lang siya. Wow, I'm smarter than everyone else. Wow, good for me. But if you're not teaching other people, if you're not helping other people, you're not using your brain for something that could better someone, it doesn't need to be the entire world naman, no? Pero at least one person in your life, then ano yung value niya? Diba? Ano yung saysay niya? And hindi lang siya wasted. Kasi yes, you can waste a gift. Pero when it comes to privilege, if you don't use it positively, what happens is you become part of the entire system that oppresses other people. And let me give you a very personal na example for this, no? And I hope you take this with a grain of salt. Pero kung makarelate kayo, that's even better. I'm saying this kasi it comes from my own personal experience. I know how it is to be one of the smartest people in the room and flaunt my intelligence as a privilege. For example, if my algebra quiz kami, no? And my entire batch is preparing for it. They are really stressed out kasi hindi nila naintindihan yung lesson, nahihirapan sila mag-form ng equation. Tapos I show up looking smug, looking as cool and as chilled out as ever. Relaxed lang ako. Tapos tatanungin nila ako, of course, ikaw, kamusta ka? Nag-aral ka ba? Do you find this difficult too? Tapos sasabihin ko, hindi ako nag-aral, okay lang. Natulog lang ako or naglaro lang ako the entire night. Tapos habang quiz na lang each other or nagdi-drill sila dun sa lobby ng school or sa cafeteria, naglalaro lang ako or tinatawanan ko lang sila kapag mali sila. You know how people would try to coach each other, tas kapag may narinig ako mali, gaganyan ako. Tapos pag tinanong nila sa akin kung bakit may mali ba kaming sinabi, sabihin ko lang, wala, ang ganda nga eh. Diba? I am basically flaunting my intelligence as a privilege. Tapos, we take the quiz for some reason, diba? And well, hindi naman for some reason, but specifically because, again nga, you have intelligence, no? You have the privilege of cognitive intelligence. Biglang, ikaw yung top doon sa class. Perfect ka. While everyone else who was toiling long before you nag-start yung quiz gets a lower mark. Sabihin nila sa'yo, wow, ang galing mo naman, diba? Buti ka pa. Matalino. Ako kasi ganito lang eh. And a lot of people say, okay lang yun, normal lang yun, part lang ng cycle yun. But you know, those experiences have repercussions sa buhay ng everyone involved way after that scenario happens. I've had people in their 40s, 50s, minsan 60s pa, come up to me and say, Coach, my entire life I believed na mahina ako sa math kasi lahat ng classmates ko mas magagaling sa akin. Ako yung mahina talaga sa math. And because of that, iniwasan ko yung math sa course ko sa college. Sumuko na ako. I gave up kasi I knew na kahit anong gawin ko, hindi ako makakahabol dun sa mga magagaling at matatalino sa math. And ano yung role ng classmate niya? Diba? Ano yung role ng classmate niya who laughed at him, who flaunted yung kanyang intelligence as a privilege, doon sa paglilimit ng tao na yon sa sarili niya, doon sa belief niya sa self niya? Na minsan sa totoo lang namamana pa hanggang anak kasi they would also raise their kids saying na, you know, kahit nung bata ako, mahina talaga ako sa math. So baka namana mo yan sa akin, pasensya ka na anak, di ba? And now we have generations of people believing that intelligence is something that they don't have and that they can't have. All because there are people who saw their own intelligence as something that they could rub other people's noses in, something that could, give them a leg up sa society, something na pwede lang ipagyabang. And now you have people who don't think kaya nila mag-improve. Medyo inihingal ako sa gigil, no? Pero I really wanted to say this kasi I think it has to be said. Now, when we say things, even when we don't mean it, or even if hindi lang talaga natin naisip yun or narinig din natin sa iba, they can have really long-lasting effects sa ibang tao. So, ano yung point ng buong conversation na to? Why did I choose to devote an entire episode dito sa argument na to on whether intelligence is a gift or a privilege? Again, I choose to see intelligence as a privilege. That way, it's a heavier word. That way, it compels people to do something about it, to use their privilege and not to flaunt it sa ibang tao. I want to see intelligence as a privilege kasi ang ibig sabihin nun is that it can be changed. Okay? It can be awarded to other people as well. You can encourage other people who don't have that sa beginning ng race as long as we use our privilege for good. No? But more importantly than me trying to convince you that intelligence is a privilege and not just a gift, ang bottom line nito is that whether you see your intelligence, and again, anumang klaseng intelligence yan, as a gift or as a privilege, I implore you to use it and to use it for good. Kasi the truth is, people are already using theirs. No? Now, whether it's being used for good or not, that's, I think, another topic for another time. But I'm also recording myself saying this because this has been something na bumabagabag sa akin for a long time. And it's something that I'm working actively to correct. And isa din sa mga thrusts nitong Trying Hard podcast is that I want us to see each other as people who are still growing. Hindi pa tapos yung story natin And whatever I have, the intelligence that I have, yes, it can be seen as a gift from God, but I choose to not look at it as a gift that I can use or throw away or leave to rot. But I choose to see it as a privilege because that way I am compelled. No, I am compelled, I am strongly encouraged to use it for good. And that's all I do in life. So I encourage you to do the same. Kasi ang masasabi ko lang, when it comes to changing society, when it comes to changing the lives of people, a lot of people think the magic yan, parang it can happen in one generation. But I really believe that it takes a lot of work. And if we can lift just one person up, if we can make just one person believe that they can be more and that they can gain more intelligence, then I think we are raising a new generation, a better generation, no? Of people who won't sit idly by as other people take every opportunity and leave nothing for them. Yeah, so that's my mini thesis. I hope you listened until the end. If you did, I really appreciate that. If you're not yet following this podcast and you're interested sa ganitong klaseng mga conversations, go ahead and hit follow. Again, we're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. And if you write a review for the Trying Hard with Lyqa podcast on Apple Podcasts, you will get a chance to win a care package coming from me. Okay? Just include your Instagram handle doon sa inyong review para ma-DM namin kayo if in case you win. Okay? So again, thank you for listening, and we release a new podcast episode every Sunday at 7 p.m. If you want to engage in conversation with other people who are no longer ashamed of calling themselves tryhards, you can join the podcast community. It's called Trying Hard Podcast Community on Facebook. Okay? So I'll talk to you there. We can keep talking about other topics that you want to explore. And as we always say, dito sa community na ito, we are people who dream big, work hard, and hopefully aren't afraid of being called trying hard. That's it muna for now, and I'll talk to you soon.